Okay, so we got Technics TR-RS180 cassette deck. This is a dual cassette deck, and it's auto reverse. I believe it may be auto reverse on both sides, but I'm not 100% sure. But we have an issue with it. So on deck 1, we can, let me press play. Yeah, so that doesn't work. So that forward play doesn't work. Reverse play doesn't work. Actually, you know what? It could be because the tape is all the way wound. Opening is very slow. Look at that opening. Quite slow. Let's put it on the other side to see what happens if I press play. Yeah. Actually, yeah, so reverse play works. Reverse play works. Let's see. What if I press forward play? Yeah, forward play is not working on deck 1. So, and like I said, the open is quite slow. It's very slow, very sluggish. Let's take a look at deck 2. And let's see what's going on with deck 2. So deck 2 seems to be working. I haven't tested it for speed yet, but it seems to be working okay. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay, maybe not. Okay, let's press forward play. Press forward play seems to be working okay. Actually, maybe not. Okay, so it's a bit, you know what, it could be because, I think it's because we're at the end of the tape. I think that's why it's doing that. If I turn it on the other side, I think forward play would work perfectly fine. Right. Okay, so our issue seems to be deck 1. So I'm going to open it up and have a look at it. Okay, so let's open this guy up and start. Let's do it from here so that we can see what's going on. Okay, let's take that side. Okay, let's take this side off. Let's take this side off. If you hear some noise in the background, I'm doing laundry. To do laundry later on in the evening. I think here in Ontario, Canada, laundry is much cheaper after 10 o'clock in the evening. I'm not exactly too sure what time in the morning it goes till, but I usually do my laundry on Saturday evenings after 10 o'clock. Yeah, sometimes I'm up till 1 o'clock in the morning doing laundry. So let's have a closer look. Let's zoom in, see what's going on. I don't know if it's possible to see it, but okay, so I'm gonna get my flashlight so I can see this better. Ooh, my flashlight is starting to get weak. Time for some new batteries. Okay, yeah, this flashlight needs some new batteries. Okay, so I got my flashlight and I'm gonna press the play button, the forward play button. Actually, you know what? This side is not problematic, but and these this one doesn't even use a flat belt; it uses a square belt, and so you're gonna get lots of wow and flutter with this guy. So the problem is deck 1. So I'm gonna bring in deck 1 so that we can take a closer look at it. Okay. So slow. Okay, so let's press play and see what happens. Probably something to do with the belts. Okay, the belts are probably at the end of their lifetime. So I'm gonna pull out the belt and let's take it from there. So let's turn this guy off. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna spray the contacts, because sometimes it's as simple as spraying the contacts. It might not make a good connection. Let's spray these contacts and see what happens. I'm still gonna have to pull it apart, but I just want to see if spraying the contacts will solve the problem. I've seen it happen here as well too, where the contacts were bad and it caused intermittent failures. Okay, let's try this. You know, because these things are 30 years old, so corrosion might set in after that amount of time. You just never know what may transcribe after that many years. Okay, so let me unplug it and power it up again. Open it up. See what happens. Okay. Yep, see, it's going forward now. It's fast forwarding. It wasn't doing that before, but now it is. See, it was the contacts. Let's see what happens if I press play. Yeah, the counter is not working. It's showing. Why is it going backwards? You know what? I still think it's the belt. There's something. The belt might be weak. The belt might be slipping. Yeah, the belt. Yeah, the belt might be slipping. Yeah, the belt is slipping. I can hear it. Yeah, it's the belt. So let's open up this sucker because I can hear the belt slipping. Okay, so I'm going to replace both belts. So let's pull this out. Actually, it's these buttons. So we really have two different colors. Bottom screws or black top screws. So I'm going to undo this side. Okay, let's focus on. Okay, got. All right. Okay, let's see what's going on in here. Zoom in so we can see a little bit better. Okay. All right. That's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna have to. It's been a while since I worked on one of these. So let's undo this. Put these somewhere else so I don't end up losing them. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Oh, this is the one where the motor and the board are connected. Did I even need to remove this board? Or do I need to unsolder? I think I've done it without having to unsolder it. I can kind of see, there's one there, there's one there. Let's see, how about that? Did I do that? So I will unscrew this guy. I think I might need a different size screwdriver. Okay, try this one. this one here. Let's try a longer screwdriver. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna put these screws back on so that I don't end up losing them. Okay. Put this back on because I believe I've done it before without having to take off these screws. Because I think with these screws I'm going to have to unsolder the motor, but I think if I do it this way then I won't have to worry about unsoldering the motor. Okay, I think I can do it without removing the motor. This is not the most desirable way to do it, but it beats having to undo the motor. It's a pain in the ass. Okay, let's see, can I do it this way? And this comes apart. Okay, so it looks like, oh, there's another one. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like I am gonna have to unsolder the motor. It's a pain in the ass, but that's the way that it has to be done. Okay, so this, turn on the soldering iron. Gonna wait for it to warm up. Okay, I think my soldering iron is all warmed up now. So let's move this. You know what? I'm sure I've done this without. You know what? Let's do this. Here. Yeah, I've done this without having to take off to remove the motor. Yeah, see, I've done it. The only problem is this little ribbon thing here is very temperamental. That's can be problematic. Can I no, I can't. It's not easy. Yeah, I gotta be careful with that because that is another problematic piece. The belt doesn't seem too bad. I'm surprised. This looks like a 1mm belt. The belt seems okay, so I don't know why it's slipping. There's like cobwebs in here. What the hell? This piece here kind of makes me nervous. Because I know that if that breaks, that's it. So let's take this off, because if this piece breaks, we're screwed. Okay, why is this thing not going through? Okay, there we go. Yeah, because if this thing breaks, that's it. Where did the belt go? Where the hell did I... Okay, there it is. Yeah, the belt doesn't seem too bad, so I'm kind of... It's kind of strange that maybe it stretched out just enough. So I'm going to lube these points here. These are terrible flywheels. They're all plastic. They're super light. Terrible, terrible. So I'm gonna lube it. Let's get some alcohol. Get some gauze pads. Be back in a minute. All right. Just put some. Clean this flywheel. These things are terrible. They're like super light. I think the belt, I think it's just probably stretched out a little bit. Remember, these belts are a little bit problematic to remove because you got like this little mechanism here that kind of gets in the way. So anyways, how do so yeah, this belt is a little thinner than the main belt. So pull this out. See if we can find some better belts. So this goes here, and this goes here. Okay. Put some grease on this as well too. So let's let this dry a little bit. Things have no weight behind it. Very little weight. Okay. Alright. So let's get this out of the way. Yeah. Whenever you see a tape deck with the square belts like this, yeah, not a very good tape deck. Should have at least one flat belt. This had to go underneath this thing here. And this was somewhat problematic. So let's see. Come on. What's the hell? Alright, and here's the thinner belt. Yeah, I think this is the problematic belt. Yeah, it's very slow to, this one is stretched out and is very slow to return to normal. So I'm going to find a replacement belt for this guy. I think this belt is probably okay. Right. Oh, look at all this stuff on tape. Cool. Actually, you know what? I'm going to replace this belt as well too, because it's starting to, I'm able to use the alcohol and it's turning my cloth here black. So I'm going to replace both belts. This one is not too bad. This one is iffy. This one definitely needs to be replaced. So I'm going to go through my stash of belts, see if we can find something. Okay, something to replace this belt. This belt is terrible. Look at it. It's like oval in shape. Terrible, terrible, terrible shape, that belt. let's find something. So this one looks like as if it's probably about 0.7 millimeters width. Let's see. Let's turn this sucker on. Let's see how thin it is. Oh, it's 1 millimeters. Okay. I stand corrected. It's 1 millimeter, and let's see what is the fold-in width of it. Okay, so it looks like about 64 millimeters fold-in width. About 65, 66 fold-in millimeter. Okay. All right. So let's put this belt on. Okay. All right. So let's find a replacement belt for this guy. Let's see. We need something that's comparable in width. This one is not a 1 millimeter. That looks like maybe a little bit. See what the width of this is. Let's measure it. So it's 1.30. Okay, 1.30 millimeter. I don't know if it can come up. There we go. 1.30 millimeter. Okay. Let's see if we can find a belt that is that thick. And you know what? I'm going to put a washer on this as well too, to keep it in its place. All right. Okay. So this flywheel never came with a washer, but I'm going to put a washer in there because it's a way to make sure that it doesn't, the flywheel, the axle of the flywheel doesn't dry out. I'm going to try a few of them and see. Find one that's okay. This is 2.11. Okay, let's try this one. 2.11 versus what's this? 2.18. So this should fit. Not the kind of snug fit that I was for, but it should fit. Okay, so that fits. That fits. Let's see, let's find, what's this one here? So They're like two different sizes. Yeah, 216, and this is, yeah. So it looks like as if these flywheels, the pinch rollers are two different sizes. This one is 211, 214, and then this one is let's see, yeah, 1.98. So one of these guys should be able to fit, press fit. One of the M2s. Talk about that's 1.75, 1.78. That's the bigger one. Let's keep it over here. 1.77. Okay, let's try this one here. That's 1.78. Let's try. So I already put. So I'm gonna put. Let's put some grease in the. Where's my syringe? So put some grease in here. Okay. Put this in here. Let's hope that this will be able to be press fit. Oh my God, it's really hard to press fit it. It's giving me a hard time. Oh, there we go. Woo, that hurts. Let's press fit on real good. That'll keep it from drying out. Okay. So this thing won't dry out. Okay. All right. Press fit a little too tight. A little too tight. Okay. All right. All right. Okay, let's close this guy up. Doesn't run as smoothly now that I have the washer rubbing against the bearing, but at least it'll keep it lubricated. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to put on now is put on the belt. Let's wipe this belt off a bit. Maybe I should find another belt. I mean, if it's starting to like melt rubber, maybe it's time to find another belt. You know what? I'm gonna try to find another belt because I don't like the fact that this is bleeding rubber. So let's find another belt to replace this guy. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at these. There's my, okay, so caliper 1.3. Right. see if we can find one that's close in size. Okay, so I think I'm going to use this one here. This one's a little bit smaller. This is about, oh, it's 1.36, which is the same as, yeah, so it's a 1.36, and it's a little, not as, let's see how much, fold it, okay, hold on a second. Okay, about 95.56. Okay, so this is about 100. Okay, so this belt will be the replacement. I think this is still good, but, or maybe not, because let's see what happens if I wipe this with alcohol. Will it bleed residue? It does, but not a lot. Not a lot. Not like the other one. So the other one is actually toast. So it's probably stretched out a little bit more than its usefulness. So that's it for that. Alright, so I think we found a winner, and I don't remember how this thing goes. Okay, I'll have to look at the other one to see how this all fits and take a look at it. Clean off. Let's clean. Okay. All right, so it's going to go on like this. So, go like that. Okay. Okay. Let's put a little bit of grease on the back of that. There's already grease on here. Let's clean off this grease. Put some fresh grease. Okay. Let's do that. Okay. So goes on like this. Okay. Alright, so what I gotta do first is I gotta side. Okay, let me see. I don't know. There's like two grooves. Let's see which groove it goes on. Does it go on the top groove or the bottom groove? Okay. 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 All right. So I put the belt on the flywheel, and so we're gonna put everything back together again. Actually, you know what? I want to clean these pinch rollers. These pinch rollers don't look the greatest. It doesn't look the greatest. Just clean these suckers up. It's not bleeding, which is a good sign. And the rubber is pretty good on this one, actually. The rubber is nice and soft. I should check to see what year this deck was manufactured, because I've had some decks that where the belts have just turned to mush, but this and the belts have turned to mush, and the pinch rollers have become quite hard, but this one seems pretty good. We should put some grease on this. Okay. Okay, so let's pull this one out. Yeah, these pinch rollers are pretty good. Okay. All right, let's put some grease on this. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's put everything back together again, and let's see what we got here. Clean the head. The head is not lining up the way that it should. It's kind of not lining up straight. It's kind of on an angle. Should line up straight, but it's kind of like on an angle. I don't know if one of the tooth of the mechanism that flips this thing around is off, but it's not lining up like it should. Yeah, it's lining up a little off. I don't know. Let's get it back in. Maybe it needs to be in order to be straight. Okay, so the dark color screws or at the top, I believe. I think it's here. This is top. No, the dark color screws are at the bottom. Okay. Let's put this in here. I guess I was thinking, the reason why I was thinking that this was, is because of this ribbon cable. I was thinking that it was pointed towards the bottom. Alright. Okay, and then this goes over here. Okay, so let's get the rest of the tape deck. And let's see if we have success. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, so that's in. This goes like this. Okay, all right. And where did I put the cassette? Happens. Okay, play seems to be okay. I don't know why fast forward. Why is it going backwards? Still getting issues. What the hell's going on? Yeah, fast forward seems to be a problem. Fast forward and play is still problematic. Okay, now it's spinning pretty fast. I don't know what the hell was that. Okay, I'll let it spin a little bit. So I don't know if it's because it's an old deck and it's kind of rusty. The wow and flutter on this is like crazy. I don't know if it'll come out on camera. There's like crazy wow and flutter. This is right here. When I touched it, then it looks like or did it reach all the way to the end? Let's see. Oh, no, there's more. What's happening here is the wrong reel is spinning in deck 1. You know, like when I play it forward, I get the supply reel spinning as opposed to the reel that should be spinning. I think I know what's wrong with it now, and I think it has to do with the way that I put on the belt, this belt, the belt that controls the play, the fast forward, the rewind. The belt is not on the pulley, and so hence why we're having problems. I don't know, let's see if I can capture it on camera. Yeah, the belt is not on the pulley. So that would explain why fast forward, rewind, all those functions are not working. Alright, so I'm gonna pull this open. And I don't know how managed to not notice that it wasn't on the pulley. Hopefully I can get it back on the pulley without having to completely open up the deck. Alright, I think I got it on the pulley. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, there we go. Alright. It's on the pulley. Okay, let me just double check again. Yep, it's on the pulley. Okay, let's try. Let's try again. Oh shoot. We got to plug everything back in. Make sure that these pins. Okay, all right. Let's plug this back in now. This deck is so slow. I hate the way that it does. Takes a sweet little time. Okay, let's try fast forward. Okay, fast forward is working. And it's working nicely. Play is working nicely now. So that's all that it was. It was just the belt just not being placed properly on the pulley. Okay, so I just have to test this and make sure that it's playing at the right speed, and then we can just close this back up and call this fixed. Okay. Alright, so Now it's working. Alright, I'm going to clean up some of this mess I made here with that fluid, that contact cleaner. It's weird how with the belt not being on the pulley that reverse play and reverse worked. That's really strange. That worked. Okay, well it looks like as if I'm gonna have to take off the pinch rollers because, you know, although I thought it was a good idea, sorry, not the pinch rollers, but the washers. You know, I thought it was a good idea to put the washers on the flywheel shaft, but it's causing a lot of wow and flutter. And I noticed that when I put the flywheels, I mean the washers on the shaft, that the shaft wasn't turning as nicely as it originally was. So I you know what? It's a very cheap tape deck. This is not a high quality tape deck. It's like plastic flywheels, and there's not a lot of weight behind it. So wow and flutter's going to be an issue. And then you put those washers, and with the cheap plastic flywheel, it's going to cause an impedance. And so hence the high wow and flutter. So yeah, so I'm going to remove those washers. If it was a flywheel that had more mass to it, then it probably would have overcome the friction from having those washers. But yeah, I'm gonna have to remove those washers, unfortunately. Okay. All right. So it was deck 1. So I'm going to remove the washers from deck 1. You know, I don't have to pull the whole thing apart because there you go. I just have to slide off the washer. And it should be okay. Wow, the wow and flutter was really bad. Okay, so unfortunately I wasn't able to show in the video what it was like, but okay. All right, so probably just need to get I'm just zoom in here so I can see what we're doing here. Okay. What the hell? There we go. So there's this one that's coming off, and let's see if we can get the other one. Yeah, the wow and flutter was horrible. Okay. And now we got the second one. Alright. Okay. Alright, that was it. So let's put this thing back into its compartment and just put everything back together again. Start with these screws. Let's zoom out a little bit. Alright. These ones at this end. Alright, so I'm going to test it on my stereo, and I'll let you, I'll come back in a bit. Okay, I stand corrected. Actually, it's worse without the washer. And the reason why is because this flywheel is just like all over the place. It looks like as if it's not like this back end that's supposed to keep it in check. It's just there's so much play. See if I can zoom it in a little bit better. Okay, so this flywheel here has so much play, and that's an issue. And when I had the washer, that kept it in place, that kept it in check. But now without the washer, it's even worse. Let me demonstrate to you the amount of play that's happening with the flywheel. I think that's why the better tape decks had a washer there, and I don't know if it comes out on camera, but yeah, look at that wobble. Yeah, that's pretty significant. So I'm going to put the washer back in, and I think the washer wasn't actually secured enough. I think it needed to press against the bearing a little bit better to keep it from having that much play. Alright, so I am going to open this back up again and back at it again. And the play compared to Cassette Deck 2 is significant. There's a lot more play, and I think that's why there was experiencing so much wow and flutter. So once again, I'm going to pull this apart. Came loose again after, so I don't know how that rode out of position, but the washer came loose, so let's put it back in its rightful place. Alright, so let's find a tape, and I'm going to zoom in so that we can take a look at that flywheel. Okay, so we're going to take a look at that flywheel and see what's going on with that, to see if it's yeah, it's really hard to say. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back and look at the video to see, compare. But it will definitely be obvious once I start playing it in my sound system. Alright, so I'm gonna hook it up to my sound system and I'll come back. Okay, so I got some bad news. So it didn't really make a difference. The wow and flutter is still pretty present, and it could be the motor, it could be the belt, it could be the flywheel, it could be a shitty flywheel. Anyways, I think it's either the belt or the flywheel or both. And there's quite a lot of movement. Let me compare this flywheel in cassette deck 1 versus the flywheel in cassette deck 2. So do I have a tape? Yeah, I have a tape inside. Let's zoom in. Okay, let's look at that flywheel and see how it boogies. Okay, so that's the flywheel in deck 1. Now let's take a look at the flywheel in deck 2. Okay, so this is the flywheel in deck number 2. Doesn't seem to have as much. Well, it's really hard to say. And this is as much as I can zoom in. I'm using a flashlight with a very blue color temperature, so it's kind of throwing everything off. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see on that angle. Yeah, it's not as bad. The wow, or maybe it's just as bad. It's bumping all over the place. So it could be the belt, or it could be the flywheel itself. Maybe the flywheel is out of kilter. I mean, these are not the best flywheels, so you can't really expect a whole lot from these tape decks. This is like a low level tape deck. It's bottom basement tape deck. It doesn't even have a input adjustment control on it. Okay, so let's zoom out. Alright, these are not like the best tape decks in the world. Alright, let's be honest. Alright. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so you know what, I'm going to put this back together again. This is the best that can be done with this tape deck, considering, you know, its design. It wasn't engineered to be a great tape deck, and without doing a complete, utter, I don't know, just breakdown and tear down and rebuild, like, it's not going to work any better. This is as good as it gets. So I'm not going to spend too much time. This is not a higher end tape deck anyway, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. So I'm going to put it back together, and that's it for this one. Yeah, even with the washer, the adjustments to the flywheel, not bouncing all over the place. This one doesn't have a washer. I didn't put a washer in here, and yet it sounds way better than this tape deck that has a washer, and it doesn't give leeway for the flywheel to bounce all over the place. So that's it for now. It's, like I said, it's RS TR-180 tape deck. Let's see if we can get it to show with this lighting, yeah, it's really hard to show it. But that will be all for this one. Take care. Bye.